My video for August 26, 2017 is entitled, "We Are Not an Advanced Civilization." There is no way that we can see what, if any, technology existed in earlier civilizations on Earth. But we can see from the pyramids and other remnants left over from previous cultures that they seem to have some abilities we still lack in this current era. Of course, Edward, I hope I get this right, Leedskalnin, I don't know how to say that name, a small Latvian man, seemed to have similar abilities when he single-handedly built the Coral Castle in Florida in the early 20th century. He obviously was able to use certain abilities that seem extraordinary to even our best scientists now. I suspect, though I certainly cannot prove, that we were more spiritually advanced in previous generations than we are now. Did war exist back then? It probably did, which may be why those earlier civilizations ended. I suspect that if we do not get beyond our insanity, Earth will go through yet another cataclysm that forces us to start over again. How advanced are we if we allow this to happen? Indeed, if you look at what's happening on the planet right now, you see that it is being run by leadership that poisons food through genetically modifying it, poisons the water, poisons the air, builds weapons of mass destruction, prepares for a war that will wipe out a significant part of the population, if not all of it. They have built underground, maybe even cities, I don't know, underground places where they can escape the cataclysms that go on the surface. At least supposedly that's what some people suggest is being done. And these are the people that run the show. I get yelled at and criticized when I say they are Khazarian Jews, though the Rothschild family is a Khazarian Jewish family, not a spiritual family, mind you. They are atheists, or they believe the devil is God. There's all sorts of insanity that is undeniable on the planet. We just have to look even at the mainstream news that pushes the agenda of population reduction. They do not honor human rights. They do not honor free thinking. They do not honor anything that most human beings would consider a human value. In fact, they seem to be totally against human values, and they create clones that have no morality whatsoever. They can rape and kill and damage and destroy with impunity. At least that's seems to be the mentality. As I said, that little guy from Latvia single-handedly built the Coral Castle. If you study that, that's right here in Florida. I've not been there, but it was so intricately constructed that you could open the massive rock gate with your finger. Just push it and it would swing open. Now, I don't believe that that's true now. Over time, it wears out, but when it was built, that was the reality of it. And it was a technology, what he built it out of was not the same as what the pyramids in Egypt, for example, are built out of. I mean, apparently most pyramids, I think, are granite. His was sandstone, which is why it wore out in a relative short time. But he built it apparently single-handedly. He certainly didn't have massive equipment and stuff like that putting it together. And it was one of the modern wonders of the world, you might say. So there has been abilities that have existed even in the 20th century, and in our generation too, I'm sure. They exist, but what is promoted is weapons of destruction. Not weapons to make peace, or not things to make peace, but weapons to destroy. This is the mentality of Earth's leadership. And I get criticized when I say God or the Creator is responsible, and I get argued with that there is no God. Then to me, there is no hope. Because obviously, the current leadership is not inclined to do things that are relevant to the prosperity of the planet's civilization, only to their own prosperity, which isn't prosperity, it's control. Their desire is obviously to control the rest of us, to make life as challenging and difficult as possible, even for our survival. I mean, it used to be when I was young that a dad could support his wife and children with one income. It wasn't long. I wasn't alive very long when it required two incomes to support a family. And it's a struggle in the current generation to support a family even with two breadwinners in the family, if you will. And the children are left to the grandparents. I am privileged to be able to take my grandchildren to school every day, pick them up from school, and help my daughter and her husband in that respect. My son doesn't have any children of his own, so I don't have that there, but I would help my son if he had children that needed help. I would do my best to help him as well. But I personally live on a limited income, as I've said in other videos. And there's no reason for this except that the establishment, the elite, whatever you want to call those that are in charge, want to control everything and make it harder and harder for ordinary people to survive, while it becomes easier and easier for them to amass monetary wealth. Something is wrong with this civilization. It's wrong with this mentality. It's perverted, it's distorted. Something needs to change. If we don't change the very nature of our leadership, especially our leadership, we're going to repeat the same apparent cycles that we've gone through in the past of destroying the very planet that we live on and making it less habitable for a period of time till it has a chance to recover. The earth will bounce back. The world takes generations and centuries to bounce back, even millennia. Something has to change. I live, and I've lived my whole life, to see what I refer to as the kingdom of heaven on earth, where everyone can prosper. Everyone that has a good intent can manifest what they need to survive, to have the gifts, powers, and abilities that we've apparently lost to be restored so that we can build a world that actually works, not for an elite establishment, but for everybody that lives on the planet. And if that was the case, we could support a very large population on the very planet that we live on. So, folks, pray for an awakening. Whatever prayer is, it's an intention. Let's intend to make a better world for all of us. Thank you for listening, and namaste.